The Blind Well Case File, a realistic documentary horror story ***. Have you ever heard a call that isn't on any record? Tonight's story follows a health worker who vanished, a frozen CCTV frame, and a breath on the line that nobody could trace. This is Untold Scary Truths, and this is the Blind Well Case File, where every whisper is evidence, and every piece of evidence is fear. The last call. What isn't on the record? This story doesn't start with a file. It starts with a call that isn't on any record. It was 2:17 a.m. The screen said private number. I picked up. I heard only breathing, long, uneven, like air rationed in a narrow space. A thin voice, a woman. Help. Down rope, I asked. Who are you? Where are you? Silence. Something like loose earth slipping. Then the line died. By morning, there was an audio file in my inbox, no sender, no header. Title, last.msg. I played it. A woman again, tired, not weak. If I don't come back, open April's register in the medical cabinet. The dates are wrong. Between her breaths, one word returned over and over. Well, I called the district hospital. I gave the name, Ayesha Nadeem, 29. Reception said, no routine report under that name. However, 2 days ago, a missing person entry. I noted the fur number and went to the police station. The duty officer said plainly, no such fur in the system. One case, 2 records. Both disagree. In ghost stories, the ghost arrives first. In real life, the first thing you meet is a lie, usually the one inside the record. I asked for April's register in the hospital's cabinet. Page 14 had a line erased and written again. The first letter of the erased name left a faint dark edge, a row below. An emergency drill was logged at 7:45 p.m. But the CCTV for that day placed the drill at 9:10 p.m. time, it seemed. Had been moved for someone. I listened to last.msg 100 times. At the 7th second, a steady tone rose, air forcing through a narrow neck. A band between 420 to 450 hertz kept showing up on filters. And hidden under it, help. Rope down. The missing file. Why did the frame freeze? In the hospital's basement sat an old CCTV console. The operator warned me, it isn't very clear, but look. A frame showed Ayesha passing by, canvas bag in one hand, a torch in the other. Timestamp, 8:03 p.m. The image froze. The time kept going, 8:04, 8:05. Then a jump to 9:11 p.m. I captured the frozen frame and zoomed. Bottom left, a weak streak of light, as if someone had flashed a torch from a distant window's edge. Where did she go after this frame? I asked. Basement's backstairs, he said. There's an old locker room there. In that room, damp walls, flaking whitewash, and in the corner, a tin bucket that didn't belong to any hospital. A cotton thread hung from its handle, wet. Not hospital dust. Outside soil. A bucket that remembers a well. Case log. Day 2 municipal records list 4 wells in the area. 3 active. 1 decommissioned. Name, Blind Well. Location, beyond the settlement, Northwest Ridge, a strip of scrub forest. Notes say, waterline too low. Edge unstable. Accidents in 1997 and 2009. Rope decayed, unfit for ordinary use. The hospital watchman added a sentence I couldn't shake. People say there's no echo in that well. Only answers. I replayed the 7th second of last.msg. The air note was unmistakable now, like breath through a tube. Narrator, Ayesha, why did you go there? The bus stand whisper. 2 T's, 1 secret. Abbas, watchman. You're the host, right? Not TV? TV people make noise. Gentle, I don't make noise. I listen. Did you see Ayesha Nadeem? Abbas didn't see her face, but at night I saw torches on the dirt path. Not 2, 3, and a sound, like metal being dragged. What do locals say about the blind well? Abbas, careful amusement. They say, there's no echo, only answers. The well replies only to those who've hidden something. Have you ever heard it answer? Abbas, I'm a poor man. Who would answer me? He drew a map in the air with his finger. A mound, a pipal tree, brush, and a broken hook where ropes used to tie near the well. Before I left, he said, "Sir, if you ask the well for an answer, the answer asks back." Air doesn't always lie, the wind points. I cloned Ayesha's phone. In deleted voice notes, I found 5 files. The third was recorded outdoors. The wind leaned one way the whole time. Using a compass app, I matched phase shifts from the wind noise. The bearing pointed northwest, exactly where the municipal map placed the blind well. At the final 3 seconds, there was a clean little click metal brushing a hook. Then a faint cry, or perhaps a human tremor inside the wind. I told myself, this isn't rumor anymore. It's a root. Rayaz agreed to guide me, reluctantly. Riz, night isn't wise. If she's down there, every minute salts the wound. Dry leaves spoke underfoot. On a thorny branch, a fiber snagged blue-white. Tight weave, the kind used in nursing coats. On a trunk, someone had scrawled in chalk, "Edges soft, stay away." The letters had run in old moisture. Far ahead, the hollow sound of moving air. Not water, not an animal, just a breath through stone dot at the mound. The land bent down. Rayaz stopped talking. His steps grew careful. "Rayaz, we don't come here we're here for a record." Rayaz nodded, eyes on the ground, as if the earth could read him back. At the well's rim, the rim was rough and eaten by time. A broken iron eye bolt still sat in the masonry where rope once bit and frayed. A tin bucket lay near, twins with the hospital's basement bucket. On its inner lip, I saw tiny grains that glittered, not crystals I could name. Just the taste of old salt in the soil, if one had ever put tongue to air. I didn't. I simply wrote, "saline dust." On the rim, a phone case scuffed, sand caught in the corners. Its scratches formed a direction like a compass swing. I called into the shaft, my voice small. "Ayesha, if you can hear me, give a sign." The reply didn't feel like an echo. My words broke apart, then returned completed half a heartbeat late. "Help. Don't be late." Rayaz stepped back. "Rayaz, that isn't echo, sir. Someone is listening." The FM hiss. I brought a pocket radio and a scanner. In old newspaper clippings, I found a 1997 mine disaster, the Gray Pit. 2 men came out alive. 1 stayed below. The missing man's brother, Furkan. At the police station, Constable Furkan folded the past in his voice. "Furkan, what happened?" Wasn't kept properly on the record. At the well's rim, scan lines thinned and fattened. Above the rim, reception sharpened. Below, it vanished as if the shaft swallowed waves. But a tone near 450 hertz woke again and again. Sometimes around that tone, a word floated up. The echo of confession. They say the well gives answers to those who hide things. I tested it by telling the truth. I spoke a small wrong from my past. The sentence returned my own voice, somehow older, as if distance had weathered it. Yes. Rayaz insisted he had never deceived anyone. He waited. Nothing answered him, just a cold stillness above the hole. Furkan arrived, stood by the rim, and admitted, "Furkan, in 97. The shift was illegal." The report was softened. My brother asked me to keep quiet. I did. Something like a word rose, tender and hard at once. Right. We looked at each other, not trusting our hearing, but unable to deny the shape of that syllable. Below, something flashed, metal catching weak light. A torch? Across the line, we reconstructed Ayesha's last route: hospital, locker room, back gate, the scrub path. Lines from last.msg matched what the well gave back. The recording was made here. We knotted rope from every length we trusted, checking every splice twice. When I pulled the line to test it, I felt a second pull from below. Riaz's hands flinched off the rope. Riaz, someone else is on it. Cold truth, I sat with Constable Furkan and turned on the recorder. Furkan, in 1997, there was a hidden shift in the mine. Money cut in places it shouldn't be. When the cave-in happened, the report was changed. One worker, Abbas Hayat, never came up. That same night, the hospital ran a drill, I said. Furkan, not for practice. To hide injuries. A quiet corridor in a noisy building. Ayesha found the trail through ledgers and cheap ink. The numbers didn't add. The night faces, the quiet wheelchairs, the bucket in the locker room, everything led to the well. Furkan, I'll go down, he said at last, as if obedience to a place could settle an old debt. Light in the well, the harness bit my waist. The rim felt like the edge of a page about to turn. We lowered a lamp. The walls were rings of damp, polished by time. At 15 feet, a niche. In it, threads from a nursing overcoat and a steel badge pin. Lower still, a torch. It flickered awake and the beam leaned upward, as if the air itself pulled it back. A narrow throat opened farther down, a passage for air. On the wall, scratched with a nail, were the words, "The file isn't closed." The camera glitched. I steadied my breath and looked up. From above, I felt weight on the rope footsteps near the rim. The file isn't closed at the bottom, a shallow pocket, as if somebody had waited there briefly. Fabric fibers, white powder from old bandages crusted into the damp. Not a grave, more like a holding place for air, for sound, for regret. My recorder caught 2 breaths. Mine and another just after it that wasn't mine. A clear line rose from the throat of the passage. Bring the truth. Up, we began the climb. The rope burned with a fresh scuff when we came back over the rim, a scar that hadn't been there when we started. In the distance, the wind held the tone I had learned to recognize. I checked the audio that night. After my breath, there it was again. A second breath. Patient, almost relieved. Final, the case isn't closed. The well hasn't finished answering. And somewhere in these records, yours and mine, the time remains wrong, because somebody moved it, and the earth remembers. The blind well case file stays open. If you think every voice is just an echo, listen again. On Untold Scary Truths, we don't chase echoes. We follow evidence. If you have insights about this case or local knowledge, comment with file no 17AC. Subscribe and ring the bell, because the next night, the file we open might be from your town.